Is that Sulfur Cord actually making a splash for the OCG weekly report? Yes, it is. Special announcement before we get too far into this video here. We have a brand new crossover between Sky Striker and Eris from Mushoku Tensei, sporting off an amazing field centerpiece. And actually, let me tell you, this is probably one of my favorite pieces here that we've actually had the chance to make, because the aesthetic, you know, the color popping, the background feel, it is absolutely amazing. I'll leave a link down below so you guys can grab yours today. Alright, to the 30% of you that have not smashed the equivalent crap on that subscribe button, pretty please smash it so we can climb up the 100K ladder here. So the first one we're looking at here is, yes, that is a Sulfur Cord, Dorme Cord, with the Superheavy Samurai engine built into it. What in the world has this deck become? Well, basically going to be using standard shenanigans. This is a lot of very intricate combo pieces that are going to move to allow you to do synchro plays, your standard pendulum plays. It's aiming to take advantage of like all of the best options you can here. You're also playing the power tool to go fetch, yes, that is the Dark Smoke Bomb, to get a rip out of your opponent's hand in the side decking phase. Yeah, they've actually found a way to use the power tool dragon. I didn't actually think that they would, but to my surprise, they've done it. Plus, we're playing the Sakitama here as well for, you know, the additional normal summon shenanigans that this deck kind of wants to see at the end of the day. So once again, a lot of moving parts innovating into a very cool pile. Next up here, we have what I like to call Cairoshink control. I've been seeing a lot of this lately. I mean, you're also playing a mini Ice Shade package in this deck as well. Do not underestimate what you're going to be able to do with all these different moving water parts. I see we're playing the Guardian Slime as well, so we can access Egyptian God Slime. Well, that's hilarious. Our Ice Shade package is going to allow us to climb up into some other parts of the extra here, make the Ice Jade big level 10 synchro. See, we are playing the roster mode in here. This is just so many bits and pieces moving around for a cluster pile of a deck in terms of the anti-meta department. It's actually kind of cool. I don't really have too much else to say about this, but Cairoshink control is still looking like a pretty threatening deck out here, and that's definitely something that you're going to see with a lot of like these OCG variants in terms of like their different option trees. Especially, you know, locking down a win isn't necessarily like super hard in this format. Next up here is, yes, Exosister. Now, I've been trying to cover as many Exosister lists as I can because a lot of people still are like, what's going on here with Aratama, Robbie? Why do you keep mentioning it? Well, Aratama and Sakitama is a new mini rank 4 level 4 package that basically allows you to, guess what, climb up into your rank package so you can capitalize and start making rank 4 plays. Who would have guessed that the ability to, you know, set up a Exceed monster and then, you know, go search for our dear friend Martha and then do a secondary line of combo. Who would have guessed that that would be something that would really matter at the end of the day, that 2 spirit monsters could give to you? Yeah, it's definitely cute at the end of the day. Outside of that, yeah, if we don't want to commit too much to Aratama, I mean, I've seen 1 Aratama, 2 Sakitama, or I've just seen Sakitamas in the main deck. So a lot of innovation happening there. Next up here, we have a Runic deck. Now, I wanted to profile this because seeing that we're playing, what is it, the Light and Darkness stuff in here, we're playing the new Fabled Beaver in here. So what in the world is going on here? Well, your entire purpose of this deck is you want to toggle through and you want to do synchro plays. Yeah, you actually want to make Chaos Ruler and you want to be able to do things. But that Beaver also gives you access to Fable Unicore, of all things. Yeah, you can have a big walking negate. Cupid Pitch, oh my gosh. The fact that you have access to that Beaver just makes this deck hilarious at the end of the day. So even Runic is finding ways out here to play one of the most broken packages in modern era Yu-Gi-Oh history. So I guess I got to clap for that. You know, at the end of the day, that in itself is pretty impressive. Next up here is Blackwings. Now, Blackwings keep showing up on every on and off day where, I mean, what does this deck actually, what does it really do that's different from its current iteration? Well, the answer is the Stardust Oxel Dragon and the Chaos Angel. How much more do those actually add to the deck? I mean,
Chaos Angel is just going to be an additional monster that you can, you know, manipulate for the dark effects. And then, of course, you're going to see here that we're playing the new Blackwing that basically says, well, if you control a monster 2,000 more attack, you can special summon it from the hand, which just gives you an additional body on the field so that you can basically do what you need to do with it. Outside of that, I mean, what more do you want me to tell you about Blackwings? If you've already picked up this deck, you're in an excellent position. You're not going to have a lot of changing that you're going to have to do here really anytime soon. And that's what you want to see when you can possibly invest in something. And you can see a couple of new tech choices down the line. And you're like, oh, cool. Like, I didn't lose. Next up is Manadome. Oh, man. So, Manadome... So many people looked at this deck on its initial release and they're like, I don't want to touch this. It's not as good as, you know, Scareclaw. Its predecessors were infinitely better than it. But it still is seeing niche play out here. Obviously, when you can splash Sprite package into the deck, of course, it's going to be better. And then, of course, Vice's Starfrost interactions. The ability to make Vice's a Stroud. So many interactions, as we're going to call it here. Vice's Starfrost also being able to, you know, trigger the little plants so that you can, you know, generate some advantage. This is just one more form of, I feel like, the best advantage lines that you can actually get. So if you're a Manadome main out here, congratulations. You got some little innovations out here. I wouldn't consider these big W's, but winning is still winning at the end of the day, in my honest opinion. All right, next up here, we have Naturia. Now, the reason why I wanted to include this here is Vernal Civ Naturia is one of those decks that, while it still does stuff in the OCG, it's very, very far in between, honestly. Now, the thing that made me really catch this was we're playing that Egyptian God Explosion trap card in here, because we are, you know, playing a lot more of the Ishizu package in here. So I guess you can get away with one of the more offbeat tech choices that I've seen in quite some time. But outside of that, I mean, Vernal Civ package is going to filter. You're going to use what remainder of the Ishizu package that you have. And then, of course, Naturia good stuff's going to, you know, go through the Naturia Beast, the Barkion. You're going to set up all of your interruptions that your opponent's not going to have any fun with. And that's essentially your game plan. It's the same game plan this deck has kind of always had. But you know what? It doesn't really change at the end of the day. So, good stuff to still see that, well, the Ishizu package is doing its job. Wow, who would have guessed? Next up here, this actually did well out of the RAM Championship. And I had to do a double take here for a second. Because when was the last time you saw Exosister, let alone Mathmech, in this deck actually do well? I mean, I guess to be fair, this deck has had to rely on the Mathmech package as of late because it's the only real way to get this deck going. Now, essentially, we were formerly Towers Turbo, but not anymore. This is now like a Firewall Turbo deck where you're going to turbo through and you're actually going to get to the big Firewall Dragon and you're going to laugh at your opponent. Yeah, no longer do you need the big Exosister guy to do things. And I think that that's hilarious at the end of the day, that you have a Firewall engine that can actually function and do something. Good on the OCG here for actually seeing that Firewall Dragon in its newest huge incarnation can actually, you know, do something. And then I saw we had a Pendulum Magician list. I'm not going to lie to you. Anytime I see Pendulum Magician do something, I always get a little bit excited. And it's always a good showcase here that what the OCG is doing definitely is something special. Also, you know, triple copies of that stupid, greedy, venomy, starving Venom Dragon. Yeah, that card is actually pretty crazy at the end of the day. Who would have guessed that, you know, being able to toggle through your effects that you'd already seemingly used for the turn would end up being good? Oh, wait, it's an easy contact fusion? That's where your real value comes from the card. And you wonder why the OCG has it banned. I also see that we are playing the Boral End Dragon in here. Yes, the fact that we can actually access Boral End Dragon in this. I mean, is your opponent supposed to have an out for Boral End Dragon if they see pendulums up? I think the answer is no. I do not think that they will actually have... If you get that thing on the field, you pretty much win the game, I feel like. And then the last list we have here is none other than Mencongo. I was so excited to see the Mencongo actually got the chance to actually do something. Now, this is more of a damage reflections-esque deck, much different than some of the other builds that we have really seen out of the OCG. And I think that's kind of nice to see that they're trying different things out here and showcasing different methods to play this deck. It really goes to show that there's some levels of innovation out here. So many cool decks out of this week. So many differently changing things. But what do you guys think? Please comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.